The first sign that something was wrong came from Luna. It was around 1 in the morning, and I was standing only a few feet from a closet door, trying to understand why a tiny dog was growling at an empty-looking room. Then I saw it. An eye. It was perfectly positioned in the narrow gap between the sliding wooden door and the wall, staring directly into the bedroom. For a moment, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. I couldn't make out a face. I couldn't even tell how much of the person was hidden inside the closet. But there was no mistaking that eye. Someone was inside the house, and I was completely alone. Earlier that weekend, none of this had seemed possible. My aunt, uncle, and cousins had gone away upstate, and instead of putting their Havanese, Luna, in a kennel, they asked me to stay at their house and look after her. I was more than happy to do it. Their house was enormous compared with mine, and they had plenty of things to keep me entertained. They also offered to pay me, which made the whole arrangement even better. Luna was an easy dog to watch, too. She was tiny, calm, affectionate, and never seemed to cause any trouble. My routine was simple. I fed her twice a day and let her outside a couple of times. Wherever I went, she followed. If I watched television in the giant living room, Luna would quietly settle on the floor nearby. If I went downstairs to the basement to play video games, she would follow me down and lie beside me while I played. At first, everything felt completely normal. That changed in the basement. I was sitting there playing a video game when Luna suddenly lifted her head from the floor. She stopped moving. Her ears seemed focused on something beyond me, and she stared directly toward the boiler room. I paused the game. The boiler room was dark, silent, and completely uninviting. I listened. Nothing. No footsteps. No voices. No obvious movement. Still, Luna kept staring. And although I told myself it was probably just some tiny sound only a dog could hear, I couldn't shake the feeling that I should pay attention. I kept watching Luna for another moment. She eventually lowered her head again, and I tried to convince myself that whatever had caught her attention was gone. Maybe it had been the heating system. Maybe a pipe had shifted. Maybe something small had moved behind a wall. I'd owned a dog before. I knew they sometimes reacted to sounds people couldn't hear. So I unpaused the game. For a few minutes, everything seemed normal again. Then Luna lifted her head. She stared toward the boiler room a second time. That was enough. I tried to keep playing, but the feeling in the basement had changed. Every little noise seemed louder than before. The dark entrance to the boiler room was suddenly the only thing I could think about. I eventually shut the game off. I wasn't going anywhere near that room. I hurried upstairs, and Luna followed close behind me. Once we reached the main floor, I shut the basement door and tried to forget about what had happened. There was another gaming room on the main floor, and I went there instead. It was somewhat separated from the rest of the house, accessible through a narrow hallway. Luna followed me into the little room and immediately settled down near my feet. That helped. She was calm again. I played for several hours, and eventually the house became completely quiet. When it got late, I headed to the guest bedroom where I would be sleeping. The room was nicer than my bedroom back home, and under normal circumstances, I probably would have enjoyed the experience. I changed into sweatpants and a white undershirt and climbed into bed. Luna settled beside the bed. She had started growing on me. There was something reassuring about having her nearby. She was affectionate without being demanding, and her quiet presence made the enormous house feel a little less empty. I turned on the television and watched for a while. Eventually, I switched it off. The room went dark. I closed my eyes. For a while, there was nothing but silence. Then something woke me, a low growling sound. At first, I didn't understand what I was hearing. I reached over and switched on the bedside lamp. Luna was lying on the floor exactly where she'd been sleeping. Her head was down, but she was growling. I whispered her name, Luna. She didn't move. I said it again. Still nothing. Then, slowly, she lifted her head. She wasn't looking at me. She was staring at the closet. Luna's growling became deeper. She stood up slowly, keeping her eyes fixed on the closet. She didn't bark. In fact, I realized later that I had never heard her bark even once that entire weekend. I followed her gaze. The closet had a sliding wooden door, and it wasn't completely closed. There was a gap of roughly 3 inches along the left side. From the bed, I couldn't see anything inside. The room was dim, and the opening was too narrow. I stared at it. Nothing moved. For a few seconds, I stayed exactly where I was, listening to Luna growl. Then curiosity got the better of me. I got out of bed. I moved carefully, almost sneaking, even though I had no idea what I was trying to accomplish. Maybe I thought there was an animal inside. Maybe I expected to find some harmless explanation for Luna's behavior. I just wanted to look. The floor seemed strangely loud beneath my feet. I took another step, then another. I was about 5 feet from the closet when my angle changed. Something inside the darkness became visible. At first, I couldn't understand what I was seeing. There was no face, no clear outline of a body, just darkness behind the partially open door. And then I realized there was something positioned in the gap. An eye, a human eye. It was tucked perfectly between the wall and the edge of the sliding door, as though whoever was hiding inside had positioned himself there specifically so he could watch the room without being seen from the bed. The eye was looking directly at me. I froze. For 1 second, neither I nor the person inside the closet moved. Then everything inside me reacted at once. I screamed. The sound tore through the bedroom, but there was nobody there to hear me. I didn't wait to find out what the person would do. I turned around, grabbed Luna, and ran. My heart was pounding so hard that I could barely think. I rushed through the house toward the front door, taking Luna with me as I searched for anything I could use to get help. There was an emergency cell phone on the counter. I grabbed it. The time was around 1 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even consider calling my aunt and uncle. They were away, and there was no time to explain what I had just seen. I called 911. Then I got outside. I stayed with Luna and waited for the police, staring back toward the house and wondering whether the person I'd seen was still hiding inside. The strangest part was that I had no idea how long he had been there, and I had no idea what he had been waiting for. The police arrived and began searching the house. I remember how unreal it felt watching them enter while I remained outside with Luna. Only minutes earlier, I had been lying in bed watching television, completely convinced that I was safe. Now officers were moving through the rooms, checking doors and closets. I kept thinking about the eye. That was the image I couldn't get rid of. Not a face, not a shadow, just that single eye watching me through the narrow opening. One of the officers stayed with me while the others searched. He talked to me, asked questions, and tried to keep my attention away from the house. I answered as best I could. I told him what Luna had done in the basement. I told him about the boiler room. I explained how she had reacted again in the bedroom. And then I told him what I had seen inside the closet. I still couldn't believe there had actually been someone there. Part of me wondered whether fear had distorted what I saw. The room had been dark. I had been half asleep. Maybe there was some explanation I hadn't considered. Then the officers found him. He had been hiding in a pantry closet downstairs. I never actually saw the man myself. Another officer was keeping me occupied and trying to calm me down while the search continued, so I didn't witness his discovery or the moment they removed him from the house. In a strange way, I was glad. I didn't want to see him again. What mattered was that the police had confirmed the thing I had been most afraid of. I hadn't imagined the eye. Someone really had been inside the house. Someone had been hiding downstairs while I was there alone. And somehow, despite all the hours I had spent moving around the house, playing games, watching television, and eventually going to bed, I had never known. Except Luna had. That was the part that stayed with me. Earlier that night, I had been annoyed and even a little embarrassed by how nervous I felt when she stared toward the boiler room. I had convinced myself that my childhood fears were getting the better of me. But Luna had noticed something. She had reacted before I knew there was anything to react to. And later, in the bedroom, she noticed the person in the closet before I did. I had followed her gaze. And that was when I saw the eye. After the police finished their search, I finally felt like I could breathe again. The house hadn't changed. The same rooms were there. The same hallway. The same guest bedroom where I had been sleeping. But knowing someone had been hiding inside made every part of the house feel different. The quiet no longer felt peaceful. It felt like something that could conceal a person. I kept thinking about how easily the night could have ended differently. I had walked through that house alone. I had gone downstairs to play video games. I had moved from room to room. I had gone to bed without realizing that someone had been close enough to watch me. And if Luna hadn't reacted, I might never have known. That thought was almost impossible to shake. The basement incident suddenly made sense in a way that terrified me. When Luna had lifted her head and stared toward the boiler room, she hadn't been reacting to some harmless noise that only a dog could hear. She may have been detecting the presence of the person hiding inside the house. At the time, I had brushed it off. Then, hours later, she did it again. Only this time, she wasn't staring toward a dark room downstairs. She was staring directly at the closet where someone was hiding. And when I approached it, she stayed focused on him. I still don't know exactly how long that person had been inside the house. I don't know how he got in. I don't know what he intended to do. And I never found out why he was hiding in the pantry closet downstairs, or why he had positioned himself inside the bedroom closet, where he could watch me through that tiny opening. What I do know is that I was extremely lucky. I had thought I was doing my aunt and uncle a favor by watching their dog for the weekend. Instead, their dog may have been the reason I survived a night that could have ended very differently. Luna never barked. She didn't need to. Her silence was enough. She listened when I didn't. She noticed what I couldn't. And when she stared into the darkness, she was giving me the only warning I was going to get. To this day, the image I remember most clearly isn't the police arriving or the man being found. It's that closet, that tiny gap, and one human eye staring through it at me, patiently waiting for me to notice.